Now, it's been 40 years in the planning and cost more than £100 million. But Greece's new Acropolis Museum has finally opened in the shadow of the original. The impressive new building offers panoramic views of the Acropolis, an icon for Greek identity. And the exhibits on display include parts of the marble frieze that decorated the Parthenon, the temple built for the Greek goddess Athena in the 5th century BC. In total, the museum also holds about 350 artefacts and sculptures from the world-famous heritage site. But some of the most important exhibits are represented by plaster copies. The originals were taken to Britain, looted, say the Greeks, by Lord Elgin almost 200 years ago. They were then purchased by the British government in 1816 and entrusted to the British Museum, where they've remained ever since. The Greek government says now is the time for the Parthenon marbles, formerly known as the Elgin marbles, to come home. The new museum has a controlled environment to protect them from damage by weather and pollution.
What's important to me now is for the whole world to see and realize that this is where they should be, in this incredibly new museum. Their old argument that they cannot be here because we did not have a museum is demolished.
The sculptures on display in the British Museum include about 75 metres of the original 160-metre Parthenon frieze. Those in favour of keeping these ancient artefacts in London say more people can see them if they're in two locations.
That means you can see them in Athens as part of a Greek story. In London, you can see them as part of a whole world story, a narrative that shaped them and that they shape. That's why it's important that they be in two places.
Some argue that if the Parthenon marbles were to be given back to the Greeks, it might set a difficult precedent. There could be a barrage of demands for other historic and artistic artefacts to be returned to their original homes.
We live in a global world where people move around all the time, where England is a multicultural nation, and some have the idea that we should not reflect that in our great national museums. We should have monocultural museums. It's absolutely ghastly.
The glitzy ceremony to open the Acropolis Museum was attended by dignitaries from around the world. Despite invitations, there was not one British royal, politician or curator present. But Greece is being offered the Parthenon marbles on loan, as long as they recognise British ownership and promise to give them back, something the Greeks are refusing to do.